Welcome to Headline Focus, here live on Core Politics with me, Rob Double. It is Monday the 25th of September 2017, and with the time about 10 minutes before the start of the working day, let's have a look at what's in the news. So first up in the Telegraph, we've got the Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has been attacked by allies of Chancellor Philip Hammond, calling him simple-minded over Brexit. Now, what they're referring to here is specifically Boris Johnson's view on the transition period, the period after we leave the European Union on March 2019, where we pretty much maintain the status quo until we work out what our new deal is going to be. It's effectively a buffer period. The allies of Chancellor Philip Hammond have pretty much attacked him on that, saying that the transition period may need to be extended until after the next election, which would be 2022. Now, Boris Johnson has said about the transition period, he says he accepts that one needs to happen, but says it should be time limited to about a year and a half, certainly no more than 2 years. Obviously, 2022 would be a significantly longer time period than that. Hammond, obviously, is very much, as the Chancellor of the Exchequer, leading a pro-EU, pro-business Brexit, particularly to do with the transition period, definitely pushing for a more longer-term Brexit, and certainly a sign with the Conservative Party and the Cabinet of just how divided they are on the realities of what Brexit is going to look like. I should say as well, Labour MPs are not having a great time with Brexit as well. They're in Brighton at the moment for their party conference. Pro-EU MPs have expressed their anger after no Brexit motions were chosen to be voted on at the party conference, which effectively means that the party is not voting in any significant capacity on the Labour Party policy on Brexit. Expect some more lines from that today. That'll be developing, and also tomorrow up until Wednesday when the party conference for Labour ends in Brighton with Jeremy Corbyn, the leader's speech. Next up in the Express, Brexit sabotage plan. Now, the Express is saying a new Franco-German plot to sabotage Brexit, referring to French President Emmanuel Macron offering the UK a flexible new membership deal, which is expected to win the backing of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. The Express seeing this as the EU leaders trying to keep the UK tied to Brussels. Hope maybe more on that story as the day and indeed the week progresses as well. But speaking of the German Chancellor, let's have a look in focus at what the key story is today, which is the German elections. Now, good news for Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel is still Chancellor. She did win the election for the fourth time, so she will serve a fourth term as Chancellor. But her bloc, the CDU and the CSU, got their worst election results since 1949, though it remains the biggest group in Parliament. And now the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, has the challenge of putting together a coalition to form a government, which is going to be significantly more difficult than the three occasions previously when she's won the election. The real story in the German elections, though, however, is not that. What's really being focused on is the rise of far right-wing populists. Now, specifically referring to the AfD, the Alternative for Germany, who have won seats for the first time in Parliament in this election, and in fact now are the third biggest party in the German Parliament. The Times is saying the far right stormed into the German Parliament for the first time in 50 years, capitalising on the fears and influx of migrants under Mrs Merkel. And Mrs Merkel, a couple of years ago, allowed over 1 million migrants and refugees into Germany in very much open-arm policy, still electorally seeing the challenges that is facing for her. Times also saying more than 5 million voters ignored appeals from Mrs Merkel and other mainstream leaders not to back the Alternative for Germany. So what the real story is going to be in Germany in the next few days is how Angela Merkel is going to form a coalition to govern properly. But certainly the key line from that election is she's back in, but her authority has definitely taken a hit. One more story then. David Davis for PM. This is in the I newspaper. Now, Brexit Secretary David Davis is ready to mount a leadership bid if Theresa May is forced from office. The PM is fighting for a future, the I is reporting, after the Cabinet's EU truce unravelled. Now, we should say it's come out this weekend as well that there were in fact plans to topple Theresa May straight after the disastrous election she faced where she lost the Conservative majority. Reports of Philip Hammond texting Boris Johnson offering his support for his premiership if he were to take over Theresa May as well. More stories on that no doubt to come in the next few days and indeed at party conference, the Conservative Party conference next weekend. But that's pretty much it for today. You're up to date. Don't forget, if you want to know all the latest on what we're doing, you can follow us here on our Facebook page and on Twitter. I'm off to the Labour Party conference in Brighton and I will be there as well tomorrow. So Matt Brown will be taking Headline Focus tomorrow. But from me and all the team here at Core London, I hope you have a fantastic start to the week.